In Psalm 57, David is writing about his escape, one of the several times he had to escape from Saul, after Saul had decided that David was a threat, and Saul was trying to kill him on various occasions. And on this particular time, he fled from Saul and he fled into a cave. And the first couple of verses say this: "Be gracious to me, O God, be gracious to me. For my soul takes refuge in you, and in the shadow of your wings I will take refuge until destruction passes by. I will cry to God Most High, to God who accomplishes all things for me." And you could kind of get this picture of David in the cave, knowing that his life was being threatened and crying out to God for protection. But as I read these verses, I was sort of struck by the line that says, "until destruction passes by," or "until the disaster has passed." And sometimes I think that our relationship with God is that I will take refuge in you, I'm going to flee to you, I'm going to come to you until the disaster has passed. And then I'm going to go back to relying on myself and my own resources. And my walk with the Lord kind of gets pushed to the back burner until another disaster comes. And then once again, I flee to the Lord. Now, I don't think that's what David meant here, but I'm afraid that's what is all too often true in my own life. And so during this time when many of us, I think, have experienced spiritual growth because in the uncertainty of the time, we have fled to the Lord, I want to encourage us not to feel like, well, the disaster is past, and so life can go back to normal. And what that normal means is that my relationship with God is not as vibrant, it's not as fresh, it's not a clinging to, it's a kind of just a compartment of my life. Let's not be the kind of people who only flee to God in the midst of disaster. Let's be people who walk closely to Him day by day. Because one thing that does is it helps prepare us for when disaster comes. We've stored His word in our heart. We know what it means to have a strong prayer life. But it also, I think, enables us to stand out amidst a group of people, amidst a culture of people who only turn to God when there is a disaster. We want to be the kind of people who are consistent, who are faithful. And so let's ask God to help us be people who say, "My soul takes refuge in you, not just until the disaster passes, but every single day of my life, until the day I see you face to face."